Let's be honest, there is a big difference between Russian that is taught in the classroom and Russian that is actually useful in real life. I don't know what sick, evil, twisted teacher decided that "здравствуйте" is a word that all students should know. It is by far the worst way to say hello to someone, which is why I, Yama, have decided to put together a list of 10 genuinely useful phrases in Russian. Let's start with the simple word "давай." And I'm always so surprised that Russian teachers don't teach the students this word.
Давай мясо! Давай мясо!
It's probably one of the most fundamental and most useful multi-purpose words in Russian. It can mean anything from yes, хочешь пиццу? Давай. To meaning let's do this. Давай пойдем в казино. And it can even mean goodbye in some context, like ну, давай. It's appalling that so many Russian learners still don't know this word. And if you were to take away one lesson from this entire video, I want you to remember the word давай. Давай, давай. Now let's talk about the word поехали. Поехали.
Поехали. Поехали. Поехали. Поехали.
Now literally this phrase means let's ride, like in the sentence поехали в машине. More commonly, it's used to mean let's go. Let's go can physically mean let's go, like поехали в ГУЛАГ. Or it can figuratively mean let's go as in when something went your way, like поехали!
Опа, поехали! Which is Russian for, and now black is going to be creating counterplay on the queen side by taking this pawn.
The third phrase is чё такое? Чё такое? What's that? Or what is this? As a Russian learner, this phrase will probably become your best friend. Let's say you're in a conversation with someone and they mention a word that you don't understand. Instead of saying, I don't understand to the whole phrase, just say, чё это такое? And they will elaborate. Technically, this phrase is actually pronounced as что это такое? What is this? But native speakers never say it like this. Instead, they cut out the syllables to make it sound faster and more concise. Чё это такое? Чё такое? The next phrase is у меня шизофрения. У меня шизофрения. У меня шизофрения.
Это шизофрения.
Потому что у меня шизофрения.
У меня шизофрения. And what this means is I'm a foreigner. Whenever you're introducing yourself in Russian, you should always say that you are a foreigner so that Russians will treat you more kindly. Russians love it when people are honest instead of deceptive, so being straightforward with them will cause them to like you a lot more.
Right to jail, right away. Believe it or not, jail.
Remember how I said здравствуйте is a terrible word for beginners? Well, one of the reasons behind that is just how long the word is. And luckily, there's a substitute that is a lot more practical. The word is здорово. Здорово. And essentially, it's a shorter form of the word здравствуйте, but it's a lot more casual and laid back. Saying привет also works, but I think здорово is a more unique way of saying hello, and I think it'll make you stand out from other learners.
What? What?
Извини, я не понял. Можно по-английски? Извини, я не понял. Можно по-английски? Sorry, I didn't understand that. Can we speak in English? Now, as a Russian learner, this should be your go-to phrase in all emergency situations. In every single language that I've learned so far, this has always been one of the first phrases that I've ever learned, and it always turns out to be the most useful. Guess what? Some native speakers literally speak like there's a time limit. And knowing how to say, I don't understand, is one of the easiest ways to get out of an uncomfortable situation. The next sentence is в каком смысле? В каком смысле?
В каком смысле?
В каком смысле?
This phrase is just a personal favorite of mine, and I use it in conversation almost every single day. It literally translates to in what sense? В каком смысле? In what sense? But it's usually used when you want someone to elaborate on a point that they just made. Someone could say something that doesn't really make sense. So, for example, мне не нравится бухать и водить машину. And you can respond with в каком смысле? In what sense do you not like to drink and drive?
What do you mean by that?
The next word is the word chuvak, which literally means like dude or bro in kind of a slang way of saying. It's probably not as practical as some of the other phrases I've mentioned earlier, but I still think it's a good way to just break the ice with someone, and it's kind of casual and funny to say. Also, I think it's kind of funny to say this to girls because it's actually a gendered word, which means it only applies to guys. So sometimes you can get a pretty funny reaction when you call a girl chuvak.
Большое спасибо, чувак.
And I've saved the best sentence for last. The final phrase I want to teach you is У меня толстая жопа. У меня толстая жопа.
I thought it was у меня толстая жопа.
У меня толстая...
These have been 10 Russian phrases that I think all learners need to know. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you think I've missed something, or if you just want to mention that I look like Gordon Ramsay. Anything will help. And as always, if you want to learn Russian in the fastest way possible, the best thing you can do is actually just